back to the Young and Intelligent Money Investing channel. If this is your first time on the channel, I make stock market videos, ETF videos, all things relating to money, and I hope you guys stick around and enjoy the content. So today I want to talk about the two ETFs, my two favorite ETFs that I want to go into in the 2018 year. So these ETFs are ones that I think are going to grow pretty well and have good, safe returns over 2018 and beyond. So as you guys, if you saw my video a couple days ago about my goals for 2018, then you know that I want to get my Robinhood account up to $10,000, and I don't really plan to add any more investments other than like in the individual stocks like I have here. I want all of this in ETFs. So in order to accomplish that, I think I'm going to use these two ETFs more than any other ones. And let's start out with VOO here. So VOO is a Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. The share price right now is 246. And if you guys don't know what ETFs are already, they're pretty much like an index fund, except it trades like a stock. So it's not like a fund where you just have a share price or like a price at the end of the day that it tells you. It like you can trade, it updates in real time and everything like that. I go into more in depth in another video I made a few weeks back, so just go and click on that on the channel page if you're more interested in learning about what an ETF is. So VOO here, I think the S&P is probably primed for another good year next year. It has about a 1.85% dividend yield right now. I'm already up 10% on it so far this year. I've gotten 3 dividends from it, about to get the third. Let's look at the top holdings over here of VOO and also the expense ratio. So the expense ratio is one of the things that is a main selling point of VOO, and one of the reasons why I like Vanguard as a company so much. So 0.04% expense ratio is incredibly low compared to competitors. For comparison's sake, SPY, which is another S&P 500 ETF, is 0.07. Well, while all the S&P 500 ones are going to be fairly low, VOO is probably the lowest, or at least the lowest I've found, and it also comes from a company you can trust in Vanguard. Now the top holdings of this are Apple at about 4%, Microsoft at 2.9%, Amazon, Facebook, Johnson & Johnson, JP Morgan, ExxonMobil, Berkshire Hathaway, and then Alphabet Class C and Alphabet Class A. So another great thing about this is that you can get exposure to some of these really big stocks that have really expensive single share prices. So Amazon, like Alphabet, Berkshire, like all of these have, pretty much all of them have share prices in the $100 range, and a couple of them have them in the $1,000 range. And I just don't want to shell out that much money for a single stock. So being able to get a little exposure to Amazon or Google here is a great way to do it. And that way I don't have to sit on the sidelines while these companies rack up like crazy equity gains. So let's look at the next one. This is VYM here is a ETF that I don't even have a position in just yet, but I really want to have one going forward. Largely due to its past performance and largely due to its expense ratio, top holdings, and really just what it wants to be into. So VYM has a dividend yield of 2.93%, and let's just read about it a little bit here. It is the Vanguard High Dividend Yield ETF, and it tracks the FTSE High Dividend Yield Index. The index selects high dividend paying U.S. companies, excluding REITs, and weights them by market cap. So one of the big reasons I like VYM is because it does exclude real estate investment trusts in its fund. REITs typically have very high dividend yields because of tax advantages they get when they pay out to 90% of their cash inflows. So when you're dealing with that, then like ETFs like SPHD are going to have a super high REIT exposure. So this way it excludes that, and you don't have too high of an exposure to that in your portfolio. And another reason I like it is because of the 0.08% expense ratio. While we're referencing SPHD, SPHD has a 0.3% expense ratio, and that is uncharacteristically high. So it's great to have a Vanguard ETF that has a low expense ratio with a bunch of companies you can trust. And speaking of that, let's look at the top holdings of VYM. So the top one is Microsoft with a huge percent of the assets, surprisingly, with 6.36%. Then you have Johnson & Johnson with almost 4%, JP Morgan, Exxon Mobil, Wells Fargo, Procter & Gamble, Chevron Corp, Intel Corp, Pfizer, and AT&T. So a lot of these companies I'm sure you've heard of. These are really the staples that have been in the market for many years, and probably many decades for most of them, and will be around for decades to come. These aren't companies you have to worry about that might go bankrupt or anything like that. It's going to be pretty steady going for these, and they're just going to spit you out dividend yields every single quarter, which is just great to see. My only complaint about VYM is that it doesn't pay that monthly dividend that SPHD does, but I think overall it's worth it. Just wait a couple months for VYM. You don't really need that dividend money, even though it's nice to see coming in until you're retired or are living off your off of your stock gains. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Please drop me a like, it really helps out the channel, and subscribe if you haven't already. This channel gets most of its viewership from non-subscribers, so if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Leave me a comment about what you're going to invest in the 2018 year, whether that's ETFs or if it's something like individual stocks, maybe crypto. Tell me about it and why. Alright, thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.